Wake up! Wake up! Why am I bothering you on a Saturday, you may be asking? Well, you know what? Yesterday, Damon had a power outage at his house, so we moved Friday wake up to Saturday wake up, and we couldn't just have a regular Saturday wake up. We had to bring in a third person to wake you up. So wake the fuck up! Get up now! Let's go!
Saturday, May 17th, our first ever wake up on a Saturday, our first ever wake up here with Sam Batesh with us of Thinking Out Loud. You know, Larry, normally when I think of people consuming wake up on Mondays and Fridays, I think, you know, they're watching on Muni, they're watching on BART, they're in their morning commute. Maybe we're on their laptop at the office as they settle into a work day. I imagine a Saturday wake up means a whole bunch of our audience is watching this in an iPhone on their chests, still laying in bed, maybe sipping coffee, being lazy. That's a good wake up. That's a nice, slow Saturday morning wake up. I like that. Sammy, good to see you, buddy.
And look, instead of being in the PJs, I dressed up today. I mean, this is a real lesson in parenthood, by the way. I've got my 3-year-old son in the other room. He may run in here at any second. He's psyched because we're going to Magic Castle today. We had to dress up. That's an exclusive invite. That's like the Playboy Mansion if you're 5 years old, all right? This is a big deal, and I'm fired up, but not as excited as Brock Purdy should be this morning. So I'm here with both of you, and I can't believe it.
Yeah, we got
can you give us any more information about said destination?
Yes.
I'm going to need a little bit more information than just it's similar to the Playboy Mansion. Is there a grotto? Is there not a grotto?
There is a grotto. There is a sort of magic mystery organ that plays songs with nobody sitting there. Okay, there are just random people walking throughout this thing doing legitimate magic tricks. There are magicians there. There are magic shows on stages and then little rooms of magic. And you cannot get in, Larry, without a very specific invite from a member. You need to know a member. You got to know somebody to get in. There's a specific list at the door, and you are bounced if you're not on that list. Forget it.
Let's role play. Knock, knock, knock. Yes.
Hello. I love your show, by the way. I watch you all the time. You're Larry Krueger, right? At Krug Show. I love what you do. I'm a huge Niners fan, and you're just absolutely wonderful. I watch you on YouTube. I see you on KMBR. Good for you, man.
The code is David Blaine. David Blaine.
Unfortunately, this Saturday, that isn't the code. Unfortunately, so I don't see your name here. I love what you do, Krug, but I don't see your name here. Are you here with another guest today, perhaps a member?
I will say this: the greatest magic act I think I've ever seen was David Blaine, who went to a New York Knicks practice, and it was classic. He's dribbling a basketball and he's showing them cards, and he's having Allen Houston pick a card. Pick a card, Allen Houston, and he picks a card. And then the guy asks the most hilarious question in the middle of an NBA practice. He goes, "Does anybody here have a knife?" And all of a sudden it was like 4 guys had knives, right?
Yeah. Gilbert Arenas is like, yeah, no problem.
Immediately somebody hands him a knife, and he takes it to the basketball. And first of all, he flips the cards in the air, right? Flips them all in the air. He's got no cards in his hands. He gets the knife. He jams it in the basketball. He supposedly has Allen Houston reach inside the deflated basketball, and he picks out the card that Allen Houston had picked. I mean,
that's next level.
Good. The street
David
magic.
Blaine, that guy makes that Doug Henning guy look like, a minor league mofo.
If anyone brings a knife out today at the Magic Castle, I will 100% FaceTime both of you so we can see this live together.
Do you know how many cheerleaders you need spilling out of a box to beat that Doug Henning? You need an awful lot. Look up Doug Henning for anyone under the age of 45. I know that Sammy's got to go early this morning, so we should probably hop right into why we have all come to you here on a live stream on a Saturday. Like and subscribe across all 3 channels. Pig in a Pickle.
Pig in a Pickle. Yep. Check out Pig in a Pickle, Corte Madera, Emeryville, open 7 days a week. Check them out. Also check out Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove. Anthony Catania's at 831-521-5264.
Eat at Ike's, drink at the Dubliner. Status Hamantasha.
Yes,
is what
please.
you need.
Delicious cookies.
Be proper about having a nice coffee and cookie in the morning. Hey, you want to know why this contract? It's good that it's done. It's just good for everyone. Number one, they needed to avoid any sort of choppy offseason, which defined last year. And that choppy offseason was something they could never shake at any point in time in the actual regular season. This ain't going to be Bosa. This ain't going to be Williams. This ain't going to be Brandon Ayuk. And that is good news. I'm telling you, there's also something that I think it's really good to be off the radar. You know, getting this done, having a part of a Friday news dump, it's the opposite of how the Dallas Cowboys would have done it. Jerry Jones would have looked to wring every single moment of media PR out of this. It would have been announced 9:01 a.m. Monday morning. The 49ers just want to get back to football, and they do so with their starting quarterback being broken off a contract that makes an awful lot of sense for both sides. Larry, you and I talked so much about how, you know, the parameters of this deal have been struck 6, 7, 8 different times. Just pick one of those skeletons and put your numbers into that skeleton, and boom, you got the deal done. And sure enough, that's kind of what they do. The numbers are all lining up to what I think we agreed would be reasonable for both sides. And I think everyone should walk away going, great job, Brock Purdy. Really nice job, Parag and the 49ers. This makes an awful lot of sense every time you look at it.
And, you know, there's going to be a bunch of people, and there already are people out there saying, oh, you know, the Niners just signed their death warrant, and, you know, they're done as a franchise and this and that. Can you guys, off the top of your head, in a relatively quick amount of time, name for me the non-Kenny Pickett, Jimmy Garoppolo NFL quarterbacks that have Super Bowl rings?
Yeah, okay. So you're saying basically non-backup.
So I mean, if you didn't win I'm not saying you were in the neighborhood when a Super Bowl was won. Right. I'm saying you actually won the Super Bowl. So how many guys in the league today have won a Super Bowl?
Number was
Hurts.
Stafford.
You said Jalen Hurts. Someone said Jalen Hurts.
Yep, Hurts, Stafford, Mahomes.
Stafford, Mahomes.
Brady's gone, so that's out. And
you got the three. You got the three primaries.
That's it. Okay,
We're
missing. We're missing somebody significant here.
You're missing the old guy.
Flacco.
You're missing Flacco, and you're missing Russell. Russell won, of course, as well. But that's the end of the list, man.
And Flacco and Wilson.
That's the entire
hanging
list.
On. And Flacco
Joe
and Wilson
Flacco, Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes. That's the end of the list. So when people get super exercised, why 25-year-old Brock Purdy has yet to win a Super Bowl, how about all the other guys in this league that haven't won a Super Bowl?
How about guys that haven't sniffed it? What about the guys that haven't sniffed it? What about the guys that haven't been there? So Burrow's obviously been there. Purdy has been there. But how about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, who are on everybody's list of best, haven't even been there?
How about Mr. Top Paid Dak Prescott? He's never sniffed it. How about Mr. If they're making a movie about quarterbacks, they would make this guy the guy, Justin Herbert. He's not there. How about Trevor Lawrence?
The two guys paid last season.
Andrew Luck. He's supposed to be the best quarterback since Andrew Luck. He is. My point is just simply, for all the people banging on Brock, ask the same question. What about all these other quarterbacks in the league that have never won the Super Bowl? That cannot be your barometer I'm not paying this guy because he's never won the Super Bowl. That's not a reasonable, grounded position to take.
Right. What you're saying is you don't understand how business works. You should probably just stop covering the business of NFL football. If any of this doesn't compute with you, you're saying you don't understand the position, how it gets paid, the market, the growing cap, the money that these teams are just printing. Brock Purdy's number, which you think might give you a little sticker shock today, 2 years from now, bargain if he's a good player. Now, any player who plays poorly when they're being paid well, that hurts, and results are not guaranteed. But we're no more than 4 or 5 seasons away from all 32 NFL starting quarterbacks being in a $50 million a year conversation unless you're on a rookie deal.
And one point to that, Damon, you said 32, but remember, there's going to be at least 6 teams that don't know they have their starting quarterback. There'll be at least 6 teams that aren't sure. And you have to remember how beautiful it is. The Niners have no question mark at that position. Not a single fear. Look at the Indianapolis Colts, who think they're a playoff team and should contend in that division. And yet, they needed to bring Daniel Jones in to give their starting quarterback a chance to now win the position again because they don't have it right. When you don't have it right at that position, you are screwed, and it is a headache every night that you go to bed as a front office, period.
Yeah, and it's also, for the fans, you gotta have that guy that they can invest in, or they just don't invest. As far as this deal, it's a 5-year deal for $265 million. It's the 5th biggest contract in NFL history. So the Niners are all in. But as my son tweeted out, the Niners definitely got a really good deal on this relative to the cap. His $53 million AAV is 18.98% of the Niners 2025 cap. That makes him the 14th highest paid quarterback in percentage of cap at signing, which is kind of a key stat because a lot of people are like, Damon kind of referenced it just there about, there are people that will complain about the numbers. To me, if you're complaining about the numbers, you really don't know what you're talking about because in reality, you could complain that you shouldn't have extended him at all, right? If you want to say, hey, you never should have paid Brock Purdy at all, okay,
right.
That's one thing. But if you're saying he should be paid, but you just didn't like what he was paid, I really got to question your knowledge of the whole thing because the $100 million guarantee or the Brock Purdy's 5-year $265 includes $100 million fully guaranteed at signing. Okay, it's the richest contract in Niner history for sure. $181 million in total guaranteed monies, but the $100 million at signing would give him that would make him the 12th highest paid quarterback in guaranteed money at signing, right behind Jordan Love. So.
And by the way, you said 12. You said 12, Larry, right? So I just want everyone, I want to put in what 12. You're saying. So everyone right now, think of Brock at 12 and come up with 11 other quarterbacks that you'd want more than Brock, and I guarantee you're going to have a difficult time getting there. Now continue, Larry, but think about that at 12.
Say, and then the 53 is tied for 7th. Okay, so if you said to me, where's Brock Purdy really rank in the NFL? I think, and I've done this exercise a bunch of times, and we always get a different answer because, depending on when you do it and how it's a moving target. So we move this thing around a little bit. But Sammy and I just did this. I typically have Purdy between 8 and 12.
Yeah.
And so I would say on average, if you said, give me I don't got time to analyze. What is Brock Purdy? He's a top 10 NFL quarterback.
Larry, we just did it. You said it. You just said it, and you said he is now 7th in AAV, and look where I had him. This is Monday before the deal. Where did I have him? 7. Yeah. 7. I had him at 7 anyway. Quick list, top of my mind. Give me the top 10. I had Brock at 7 in a heartbeat, and that's where he lands in regards to cash. Look at that. 7.
I'm working in elite graphics here on YouTube.
We have surprises later. We do have surprises later.
And we want to get to them before you got to go. Sam, when you got to go, just hit the eject button.
That's it. No problem. We're all friends. By the way, if it seems like I left because I'm mad, we're all friends. It might have been a magic trick. David Blaine could have been here and just poofed me out of this entire thing.
It's like when Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear or walked through the Great Wall of China. It's going to be Sam leaving. But look, what's really, I think, interesting about this is something that Jason Cole came up with today. I saw this on Twitter from Jason Cole, who's covered the NFL forever. He says, the new money here is $53 million averaging over 5 years, but Brock is still making $5 million this upcoming season.
Right.
So
hysterical.
It's really a 6-year deal for $270 million. That's $45 million per year for Brock Purdy, if you really want to look at the totality of it. And, he gets 181 guaranteed. Great for him. And the 49ers bought 2 added years, which is great for them if he's healthy. And Jason Cole says this is a strong deal for both sides. And it really is. To evaluate this as anything other than that's good business It's not ridiculous. Dak Prescott trying to also attach the headline that we have the highest paid quarterback in the entire league. You know that Jerry Jones wanted that. He wants that sticker price.
And he's got it. And he's got it. And he's got it.
And where's it going to get him? We do not know. I mean, again, I'm with you, Sammy. I think Dak Prescott is among the least of the Cowboys' problems. But, you know, heavy is the head that wears the crown. So he gets an awful lot of the criticism. And look, I just think that whenever you got a guy who's as safe an investment as Brock Purdy really seems to be, who you know is a very good, you know, producer on game day, it's hard to do better than lead the league in passing since you've joined it. He's done that.
Is that good? By the way, say that again. Is that good? Okay. He's compared to every quarterback. This is not like amongst 49ers starters. In the entirety of the league full of ridiculous quarterbacks, a rating that was come up with, by the way, a mathematical calculus equation that came up with ranking quarterbacks has this guy at number one.
Right.
Well, I mean, some people would say by definition that means it's a faulty rating, whatever, if you want to take a super hyper negative deal. But what it really just shows is that within the grading system, the man is highly efficient. I want to share the screen on Warren Sharp. You know, I'm a big fan of Warren Sharp. I know you guys are as well. And Sharp did a really nice job at breaking this thing down. He's like, Purdy's first year, he goes 13-4. They go to the NFC Championship game. They lose to Sammy's Eagles. He gets knocked out with the elbow. Year 2, 12-5, they win the NFC Championship game. They lose in the Super Bowl in overtime. Year 3, they obviously fell to 6 wins. It was a bad year. But look at what Brock did individually. 3rd in yards per attempt, 4th in success rate, 5th in EPA per attempt, despite having the 2nd most injured offense in the league and only a total of 57 snaps on the field together with CMC, Ayuk, Debo, and Kittle. So, I mean, guys, you know, is he the greatest quarterback of all time? No. But is he damn good? Yes. And I would say this, as we're doing this, and I'm not, you know, I like Grant. I'm not ripping Grant. I know everybody doesn't love Grant, but Grant's doing a stream right now, and his stream is titled, Did the 49ers make a big mistake in extending Brock? And he's playing that angle. Okay, that's fine. Let him do it. I mean, that's his, you know, that's the beauty of life, right? Everybody's got different thoughts.
Sure.
And you can listen to different people and get different thoughts. But all I would say is this. Let's just take a quick 30-second timeout from the critiquing the decisions that were just made by the franchise and go to what would the Niners be doing right now if there was no such thing as Brock Purdy. If the Niners right now, if Brock Purdy for whatever reason did not exist, who would we be discussing right now
Mac Jones?
As the Niners quarterback? Well, would it be Mac Jones?
Trey Lance. You want to go back? I mean, would it mean that they
would it be Aaron Rodgers and his circus? I'm just saying. Look at what's the look at. It's easy to look at this and be like, yeah, this great young quarterback who is a terrific face of the franchise, who the team loves and the players love, and is really efficient. Well, you know what? You paid him too much, and because of it, it's going to hurt you here, here, and here. No mention of, if you didn't have him, where would you be and who would you be playing? And the answers are going to be miserable by comparison.
And you can't borrow, by the way, go ahead. What are you going to borrow Josh Allen from the Bills? Like, who are the guys you're slotting in ahead of him? What are the options? Like, are these people available? Who can you actually put in for him? It's ridiculous. And by the way, before I jump, Damon, I want you to make a point here. And just before I jump, remind me, I want to make a point about getting to the Super Bowl with a quarterback who makes almost no money and getting there with a quarterback who makes $50 million. But Damon, go.
Right. So you and I talked about that last night. You know, Jalen Hurts. Yes, he just won the Super Bowl, but was that on the rookie deal? No, the Super Bowl he lost was on the rookie deal. The Super Bowl he won he's making $50 million. So, you know, don't tell me that is automatically your quarterback makes this, you can't win. Another thing that you'll see attached, you know, this is something that we dealt with last night too in our live stream. Sammy is the person who says, look, all you got to do is move him off of his mark. The minute he faces a pass rush, he turns into an average quarterback.
Oh,
all quarterbacks turn into average quarterbacks when the pass rush is hot.
Ask Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Ask Kansas City Chiefs how great their single best quarterback on the planet looked against the Eagles and their pass rush in the Super Bowl.
There's one quarterback who are confident that in a pass rush he can beat it most of the time with his legs. I'm not saying he can win every game this way, but he can do it, and it's Lamar Jackson. And by the way, now most teams, what they've done is they've decided even when we get Lamar off his mark, we actually don't want to chase him. We have to then drop people back at an umbrella to sort of allow him a couple of yards because we don't want him to break 20. So that's a different strategy. Every single quarterback with pressure in his face, what is he doing? That's ridiculous. And I also want to remind you what I said last night. Every Niners fan hopped on the if Brock Purdy were healthy, we would have gone to the Super Bowl in 2022 because he got knocked out of that Eagles game. And if he hadn't, we would have won that game. Well, if you think that and go back in time and remember how you felt when he was knocked out by Hassan Reddick, in that moment you said, wow, if our quarterback, whose name is Brock Purdy, is healthy, we win this game. Well, if you think that, then you should be cheering today that Brock is in this $50 million category. And by the way, he could have set the record at 60. The most recent guys signing contracts make the most money. Look at Tua and Trevor last off season. They set the bar again. And who wants to write those fucking checks right now?
By the way, neither side in this negotiation played hardball. Neither. The Niners talked an awful lot of hardball. I don't think they played much hardball here.
Nope.
And Purdy's side, who suggested hardball could be coming your way, there's no brush back pitches anywhere in this contract.
Personally, I think Purdy's side, I mean, I have no sources on this, but I personally think that Purdy's side probably made concessions to get this thing done because I think they want it done now. I think Brock wants to be there, and I think that was the one probably advantage the Niners may have had. The one trump card is they knew that Brock didn't want to miss any time, and I said this months ago. I said he will not. Whatever the way this goes, he will not let this thing drag into, oh, where's Brock out here? Oh, Mac's leading the charge because Brock's holding out. That was never going to happen. I guarantee you, he told his agent, I don't care what you do, what your tactics are, you get this thing done before I hit the field because I'm hitting the field. And he didn't miss any of the OTAs. He didn't miss any of the meetings. He didn't miss any of that. Even when before the deal was agreed to in principle. So it kind of shows. I think Brock drove the urgency to get it done probably more so than the Niners.
And Damon, give us your thoughts on Brock the man, and remind people, because at this position there's no guarantees that your quarterback is an outstanding citizen, and we don't have to go to the worst guy on the list who's clearly Deshaun Watson. Go look at the top 10 paid quarterbacks and vomit in your mouth a little bit when you look at that. But talk about who Brock Purdy is to this organization, which basically tells you he'll be there for a decade doing this.
How about this? A bad guy with domestic violence charges, masseuses jerking him off against their will, and all sorts of bad things happening off the field, bad juju, bad vibes all around him, who's got 2 NFC title games, a Super Bowl appearance, and an MVP race that he was legitimately a part of. A bad guy with that resume gets paid. Then you bring in the fact that, as we said last night, this is a Boy Scout. His teammates love him. His coaches love him. He's a hard worker. He's dedicated. He's never lost a press conference. He says the right thing at all times. The guy's undefeated when the red light comes on and the microphone is recording. He's unprovocative. He's married. He's stable. He's religious without being too religious-y. He is a lunch pail guy. And like Krueger just said, he understands that hard work gets opportunities in football. It's how he earned his opportunity, being in the right place at the right time, and the guy in front of you can't go, boom, now you're in the conversation. So he knows I got to be there and outwork everybody, even though I've got all this going in my direction. He's not going to lean on it like we just put up in the lower third there. I am become destroyer of words. There's zero diva in Brock Purdy. And this is a guy you want to invest in. Oh, by the way, he's set the season record for passing yardage
he's got the record in one season. He has the Niners, Joe Montana, Steve Young, the Niners record for passing yardage in a season belongs to Brock Purdy. Do we need to say anything else? This is not an organization that's been starving for quarterbacks either.
Look at Coach Yak has a great stat board up today. he's like Brock Purdy's career as a starter. Okay, and this is among quarterbacks with among 65 quarterbacks who have 5+ starts since 2022. Okay, so basically since 2022, yards per attempt 9.0, passing yards per attempt that ranks first in the NFL. Passing touchdown percentage 6.1%, that's second in the NFL. Passer rating 106.2. We just said it. First. 4 postseason wins. That's tied for third. So, I mean, right there. I mean, the guy's done it. So the guy's worth every penny. Plus, he was before the money the hardest working guy on the team by everybody's account. I mean, this is the guy that works the hardest.
And Larry, you brought this up.
That matters.
Do we really think that there's a slight possibility that Brock Purdy, knowing he wasn't the guy and wasn't getting paid, was working towards this moment, right? Like there's the possibility that the carrot for Brock this whole time was, can I remain the starter? And can I sign ultimately? Let's be clear. This is the NBA equivalent of a supermax deal, right? When you're a quarterback and you get a $50 million contract, it's ultimately like you got to prove that you're at that level. This is what Isaiah Thomas with the Celtics couldn't get, right? And Brock has done it. But is the idea here that Brock Purdy's the kind of guy, if you really ask yourself, now he's going to stop being who he was because he's getting paid $50 million? Or does he feel like the kind of guy that's going to feel the weight of $50 million and know that he's gotten close and not all the way and wants to deliver a championship? That's what you have to ask yourself.
I mean, first of all, I think what we heard last week from Kubiak says it all. He's like, Brock has had a tremendous offseason. He really wants us to coach him hard. He really wants us to throw the things that he's not good at him repeatedly so that he gets good at it. I'll say this, though. What really is the most striking part of this whole thing, just from having, gone on social media, done a couple live streams since the signing, talked to a bunch of people, looked at a lot of people conversing back and forth. All of the negative discourse around Brock Purdy and his contract is just so weird, so bizarre. I mean, look at this guy. This guy is Mr. Irrelevant. He's the ultimate underdog story. He's this great. I mean, if this should be turned into a freaking Disney special. This is like an after-school special on ABC, and everybody should be celebrating this incredible underdog story and acknowledging that, man, love him, hate him, whatever you thought of him initially. This guy has exceeded all expectations that anybody had for him.
This is Kurt Warner bagging groceries.
Right. Instead, it's Krueger. It's the Krueger story all over again, and all these fucking idiots who are just sitting there screaming at the top of their lungs, it's an overpay. It's an overpay. It's like, dude, get a grip. This is one of the great stories in the NFL. This guy went from rags to riches, and all you got to say is it's an overpay. I mean, that's so pathetic.
Even if you don't want to be romantic about it, that's fine. It's not an overpay.
It's not an overpay, yeah.
It
really isn't.
Overpay is a full-on explanation that you don't even understand that you're in San Francisco and dinner here is going to cost more than dinner in Oklahoma.
Boys, I love you. I love you. I love you. My magic trick happens right now, but I love you, and I will see you so soon.
And
Sammy, we'll talk to you Monday.
And look at it this way. Sammy lovingly prepared all of these slides. He borrowed from CBS Sports to give us these slides that we have to go over here because there's something interesting on each and every one of them. Oh, no, they're gone now. Sammy closed his computer, so we don't get to show the slides. Oh, darn. Anyways, that's all right. Larry,
that was my F up. That was my F up. I was trying. I had the one board up, and I had Sammy in the studio, and I didn't realize that he couldn't stay in the studio, or he couldn't leave the studio without. My bad.
Nice job, Larry.
I blew it.
The only thing that I can say,
flogged.
We've done enough radio to know that we can do a show without visual aids. So we're going to be okay when it's all said and done. I'm convinced. Oh, look, Batesh has clicked back in. I think he.
Oh, there we go, Sammy. I made a mistake, Sammy. I eliminated you, which eliminated the stats. Now Sammy's back, and he's going to put the stats back. Look at that.
I'm telling you, in your entire life, you've never worked with a better producer than Sam Batesh. Sammy is the single most. What do you?
Well, I had this one guy at Sports Byline USA that was just tired.
Who
no,
was he?
but
he was honest, right? He was.
Get
honest.
the hell out of here! Get out of here! Yes, but
Where's
you know,
the producer? Oh, he's doing drugs with my co-host. There he is.
But you know, to me, the big concern, for you know, it's, as far as like the people that were concerned about the money, it's like, let's peel the onion on this one. Why are you concerned about the money? Okay, the people that are concerned about the money will tell you they love Brock Purdy. I love Brock Purdy. It's not about the money. I don't begrudge him anything. It's not about him. It's about the cap. It's about what else we can do with our football team. The people that, you know, unless you have a personal vendetta, your issue is about you don't like that what they spend on Brock because in relation to what now you can spend on the other players.
Right.
I get that. That makes sense. That is a football thought, okay? That's a Niner fan thought. Let me share the screen. We already threw this out before, but this is basically the same chart we had before. Brock Purdy's AAV of $53 million accounts for just 18.98% of this year's salary cap. So it places him 14th among quarterbacks with deals signed since 2020. So this, Damon, you and I have talked about this a lot. Brock Purdy's really smart. His agent, who I've spoken with, Kyle Strongen, very smart guy. They know that the most money isn't the best deal. Not when it comes to a quarterback, because a quarterback has to have a receiver. The quarterback has to have an offensive line. The quarterback has to be protected. It's a team game. So you don't want to have the highest percentage of the cap. The higher percentage of the cap means that those contracts, the Joe Burrow contract hurt Cincinnati the most. The Dak Prescott contract hurt Dallas the most. And it's no accident, by the way, that the top four guys, as far as percentage of contract value relative to the cap, none of those guys have gone to the Super Bowl or won the Super Bowl, I should say. Burrow's been there, but none have won it. Jackson, Herbert, Prescott, Burrow all had average contract value that was at least 23.1% of the cap, where Brock Purdy's is way, way down there at 18.9%. And it's more in line with like Josh Allen's new deal, which is big money, lots of money guaranteed, lots of big dollars, but only 19.7% of Buffalo's cap the year it was signed. So you know what? To me, if you want to say they pay, you know, Brock Purdy's not the guy, I get that. If you want to say that they never should have extended Brock Purdy at all, and that they should look for a different quarterback, that's a totally different argument.
Right.
But if you're arguing that they paid him and they shouldn't have because they got a bad deal and they paid him too much, I think this illustrates at 18.9%, 14th on the list, that it's a relative. I mean, obviously, it's the biggest contract in Niner history. Obviously, it's the biggest contract on the books. So it's not like some nothing deal, but at the same time, it's not handicapping the franchise. It shouldn't. The
next deal for the next quarterback who was successful was going to be the biggest deal in 49ers history anyways. You know, you don't work backwards in time. You don't get less expensive at the position of quarterback as you go forward in time. So it was coming no matter what. And I think about it like, you know, real estate and neighborhoods. Like you said, Brock Purdy, whether you like him or don't, you got to put him in that neighborhood of like he's somewhere in, 8 to 12, 8 to 15. That range of quarterbacks. Well, that neighborhood gets homes are $50 million in that neighborhood. They just are. And so what Brock is now getting paid, look, there's tiers to this. Dak Prescott's on a tier all by himself, right, at $60 million. Then you got Burrow, Allen, and Love, $55 million. This is the per year basis. Then it's Burrow, Allen, and Love at $55 million, with Trevor Lawrence at $55 million. I wouldn't trade Brock Purdy for Jordan Love or Trevor Lawrence. I would absolutely trade him for Joe Burrow or Josh Allen. I'm not trading him for Dak Prescott. Then he's in his group, the $53 million club, which is Tua, Purdy, and Goff. I'm taking Brock as the nicest house in that little section of the tier. So I just, again, even if you want to be mad at this, you got to really work hard at being mad at this.
Yeah, it's going to take some skill.
Yeah, because it makes so much sense according to the actual reality and universe that we're living in.
Well, and then Damon, the other thing has to be, I mean, I'm okay. You and I, we're not Gestapo here. I mean, it's not like, hey, if you don't agree with us, then you don't. No, make your argument. If you don't agree, that's fine. But here's the thing. Listen to any person who's bitching and complaining and make them come forward with what they would do at quarterback instead. It's so easy. Damon and I have been doing sports radio for decades. It's really, really easy to sit in your car or in your house and hear Damon's monologue, hear Larry's monologue, and say, you're wrong. It's a lot harder to say you're wrong because it's a hard, you're wrong and here's what I would do. Most of the time you get people who calling up just going, you're wrong. And they have okay, you don't like my idea for how I would rebuild the Warriors. Okay, fine. What's your idea? Oh, I don't have one. So just, it's like anybody can take a sledgehammer to a kitchen. It takes a contractor to rebuild it. Anybody can take a sledgehammer verbally to a contract that was done and say, you shouldn't have done it. Tell me who they should have at quarterback instead. Because if we get on that debate, then you're going to see the value of Brock Purdy. Because then you're going to start bringing up guys, shitbirds who can't play anymore, Hall of Famers, weirdo Hall of Famers like Aaron Rodgers, who nobody likes and nobody wants to root for. And, it's like guys whose best football was 5 years ago or, it's easy to say dump Brock. It's harder to say and go with. That's the go with part is a little bit of the trickier part. And it's always the part that trips people up. Did you see, by the way, were you on Twitter at all last night, Damon, or were you busy with the fam?
A little bit. What was I supposed to see?
Oh, I got a couple things that you're going to love if you haven't seen them. Here we go. I'm going to show you two of them. Okay, this was from last night.
Is it a collection of receipts, Larry? Are you keeping receipts here? Is that what there is?
No, this is all fun and games.
Okay.
Here we go. This is the Giants, the Niner rookie class went to the Giant game last night.
Oh, hey.
And there's your guy in the front row, CJ West.
There he is.
Okay.
By the way, Larry,
but wait a second. But wait a second, David. I got to show you here. This is the great moment from the night. This was epic last night, and when John London and I were doing our bottom of the pint, we played this last night. We'll skip off of this one. Oh, down here, your guy CJ West when Wilmer Flores hits his third bomb. Look at this. This is epic. CJ West reacting to Wilmer Flores' third home run last night.
Let's do it again, Wilmer. Let's go, Flores.
There you go. Hey, man, Hoosier's got a good baseball program. He's watched a couple tanks go out at Old Stembauer Field in Bloomington. I love it. By the way, Larry,
look at that. Is that cool? I mean, Wilmer Flores is the GOAT from CJ West. Oh, that is awesome, dude. I love that kind of stuff, dude. I love that kind of stuff. I love when I see Niners sitting courtside at Warrior games. I love it when you see, Giants or Niners throwing out first pitches at Giants games. But to see the rookies all get a suite at the Giants game and then to see a little history and a fun night, and CJ's got a great personality, man.
I love to see the love of sports, and he obviously loves sports. And we wake up in a world today where the Brock Purdy contract is done and Wilmer Flores is the hottest hitter on the planet. What a great Saturday. We had to bring you this wake up this Saturday. Please like and subscribe. By the way, both channels. Do it to the Krueger Show. Do it to Damon Bruce Plus. If you would, please do it to our friend Sam Patesh, who was just here thinking out loud with Siciliano and Sam. We thank him. And Larry, we have to get into this slide presentation that Sam.
Yeah, let's do it right here.
Because this is some really, really good stuff. We got to drop the. Thank you very much. Okay, here we go. I will take us through. First of all, this is your opening slide for your A block, right? There's the particulars. He's 23-13 as a starter. For some of you, that's not good enough. I get it. 2003 Pro Bowl selection in a year where he was in an MVP conversation. For some of you, that's not good enough. He's
13 as a starter, by the way, thrown into the mix in week 13, unbeknownst to him, and had to, as a rookie, lead the way and ran the table as a rookie. I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. See what's highlighted in red there? Again, if that isn't enough for you, what you want at quarterback is something I just don't even understand. Guy walks in out of a cornfield and gives you the best career passer rating in NFL history. Wow. Things have not been optimal. There have been some really good years for the 49ers, but that also includes a bad year last year for the 49ers, and he's still coming in with that. So that's where the conversation begins. Now, let's look at last year, which was a challenging year. You want to have a quarterback who can remain competitive as things around him become a bad situation? Last year is an example of this kid can play because as everything went wrong around him, and Debo couldn't play well, and Ayuk couldn't play at all, and McCaffrey was hardly available. He basically was throwing to George Kittle, and you had the rest of this offense just losing its imagination and status in this league as elite. Look at that. Still third best in yards per attempt. 10th longest in average pass distance. Not bad for dink and dunk, wouldn't you say?
Considering also 57 total snaps for CMC, Ayuk, Debo, and Kittle on the field together.
You can't find much more adversity than what Brock had to play through last year. And again, those numbers are more than acceptable numbers for the adversity that he was going through last year. We move along to now let's talk about highest paid quarterbacks by annual average value. If I told you at the beginning of this whole thing, when it's all said and done, hitting the market at the right time, not even 25 years old, he's already been to a Super Bowl, 2 NFC title games, and all this stuff, that he would walk away with the 7th highest paid quarterback. Like that's a deal right there. The fact that he isn't in the top 3 alone, Parag Marathe gets an extra cup of coffee this week at the office, right? I mean, this is exactly what you would want. This is where he belongs.
Well, I think that is the appropriate phrase right there. I think Kyle Strongen and Parag Marathe negotiated a deal that puts Brock Purdy, fill in your line right there, where he belongs. Because, Damon, let's be honest about this. Brock Purdy is not the NFL's best quarterback and shouldn't be the NFL's highest paid quarterback. I don't care if it's a new contract or not. He should not be the NFL's highest paid quarterback. Why? He's not the NFL's best quarterback. He's not among the NFL's best quarterbacks as far as the top tier. He's not. He's a very good quarterback, though. He is a top 10 quarterback. And this list that you're looking at, only Burrow and Goff and Purdy on this list have even made it to the Super Bowl.
It's a situation where he fits the team. He fits the team. You have no better option than him. The quest to find that better option, even if you found it, would so reset the chemistry of what you're trying to do in this upcoming season that wasn't worth it. Here's the thing. Brock's single greatest attribute, other than being a Boy Scout of a human being, is the computer that is in between his ears. He has seen the field, read the field, and played the field like a 10-year NFL veteran in year 1. Now he's going to be stepping into year 4 as this team's starting quarterback. I can't wait to see it. I mean, we haven't seen Kyle Shanahan have a quarterback who he's been able to instill this much wisdom into. Well, I think Jimmy started by the time this season is over, Brock will have started more games than Garoppolo, and will have taken over the most amount of starts for Shanahan as the 49ers quarterback. And look, this is a guy who, again, just keeps getting it done. And was 6-11 last year. Don't tell me he got it done. He wasn't the problem. Like, if you think that was the quarterback's fault last season.
I mean, they were 20. I mean, they were 29th in run D. They were 32nd in special teams. They were 32nd in separation at wide receiver.
Right.
They didn't get any separation. Everybody he threw to was fucking covered. They had no defense. They had no special teams. And they had 57 total snaps of their weapons. I mean, the guy did what he could do.
Shall we move along slide-wise?
Sure.
Let's go to this one. Now let's talk about guaranteed money, because that's it. Everything that isn't guaranteed money is just to make the agent's tweet look better. That's the right number. By the way, when we were looking for
eighth.
Yeah. When we were looking for the real bellwether of when this deal was going to get done, you and I have tried to predict, have argued about when it needs to be done. We both agreed it had to happen before OTAs began, and it did. Very good. But here's the deal. Follow the money. Follow the money. When in doubt, forget what everyone's saying. Look at what they're doing. The 49ers sale of a small percentage of the team to 3 Bay Area tech titans happens the same week that the Purdy deal is done. Of course it did. The Yorks just pocketed nearly $500 million in that transaction, the size of which they won't even notice. They've given up no control. They've given up zero power. Basically, you got 3 people who can now say, yeah, I'm part owner of the 49ers, and they get a better parking space and probably a better charcuterie tray in their suite, okay?
Well, I mean, the Yorks own a very, very profitable and valuable asset, but it doesn't mean that they're cash rich because of that asset, and they found an entity or a way to pay Brock Purdy's contract with all the pain that comes with that, with no pain at all, because they got an infusion of $510 million, and of that $510 million, $181 million just went out the door to Purdy, and a sizable amount's probably going to go out the door to Warner in a few weeks, and they paid Kittle, who would, by the way, George Kittle owes his contract to Brock Purdy. I mean, George Kittle was a good player before Brock Purdy. George Kittle was a better player since Brock Purdy, significantly better. So
now the Niners can put Purdy's entire new contract in escrow and still have nearly $250 million in walking around cash because of that. So they're not even dipping into the vault. The new money in the vault pays for all of this. Again, the rich, the wealthy, they print their own money. They're really good at it. That's an advantage that they have over the rest of us. And because of that new sell-off, as of today, and it'll probably change by next week, because we watch values fluctuate everywhere. But as of today, because, Forbes can put a list out and say that's what you're worth until you do an actual sale. That's when you find out what you're really worth. And as of today, the San Francisco 49ers are the most valuable team in sports globally. They're worth over $8 billion.
But that doesn't tell the story. The story is when the growth in the period of time, because they were a $4 billion entity, like literally seemingly 45 minutes ago. I mean, they have jumped from $4 billion to almost $9 billion in valuation, Damon, in less than a decade. And that is unbelievable financial growth. Now, some of this money is going to go to renovating the stadium, right? You got rust stains all over the stadium. The Super Bowl's coming here. They spent probably hundreds of millions of dollars to upgrade the viral blah, blah, blah of the stadium and, add to its juice and everything else. So that's a lot of it's going to the stadium. Some of it's going to Brock. Some of it's going to Warner. And ultimately, they're not going to feel that lack of the percentage that they sold. They're never going to feel that because the growth in the asset is so significant that They're never really going to feel the 6%, the $510 million that the three families invested in this franchise.
Larry,
Jed and the Yorks are never even going to really even feel that.
Yeah. We should have gone into tech. We chose radio. We made a mistake.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's look at this too. You talk about what does this really look like. So the draft obviously is very incomplete. They're just the first two picks. But, this is what the 49ers offseason basically looks like. You can add much more to that draft class. But when you think about why did this deal need to get done before OTAs, vibes matter. And Purdy is good vibes. And along with good vibes, you want those guys framing how this team actually works. Matt Barrows wrote about
and not just vibes either, because let's be honest, they don't have that much time together. Pearsall, they just don't have they don't have as much field time together. They need Brock to be out there when they install things, and they will install things on the 27th, and it's important that he's there.
Barrows writes, the 49ers are amidst their biggest roster pivot since Shanahan and Lynch arrived in 2017. And in March, they said goodbye to 8 starters from last year's squad. They signed 13 outside free agents, add 18 rookies, 11 of them draft picks. So this is the biggest roster turnover since Shanahan, was turning over the first 2 years of Kyle's career with the 49ers. You can almost throw those out because that was a full flush the system, rebuild the roster.
Right.
The success that they've had since then is really hard to argue with. Unfortunately, none of it ends with the Super Bowl, which is what a lot of people use as the only barometer for was season good, was season bad. There's much more nuance to an NFL season. And to me, the 49ers now have in place, what I want to call the holy trinity of can you succeed in football. They got the quarterback, they got the coach, they got the front office. And then you can also say the owner who, I know a lot of people spent this offseason angry at Jed for the money that he wouldn't spend, but I would say that Jed York is a better owner than he is a bad owner at this point in his ownership. He's learned a lot. And I think the financial reset and flush will be good for the 49ers in the overall grand scheme of the picture that we're now looking at. But this is look at the successful teams. The LA Rams, what do they got? They got a really good front office. They got a really good head coach. They got a really good quarterback. The Kansas City Chiefs, all 3, boom. The Buffalo Bills, maybe they only have 2, and that's why it hasn't gone all the way forward, because the coach hasn't quite gotten it done. Look at the Eagles, who might have even replaced the Chiefs in the moment as your model franchise. That is quarterback, coach, front office.
Well, I think that before we move off the Eagles, let's talk about the Eagles for a second. Aren't the Eagles in a lot of ways the template for the 49ers? Jalen Hurts was not better than Patrick Mahomes, but he was on Super Bowl Sunday. And he won the game. And I see Brock Purdy as a Jalen Hurts type. And people are like, oh, well, it's funny too. It's like when people want to tell you that Brock can't do it, it's like, he can't do it. They won't be able to do it because they're paying him. Well, it's funny because they're paying Hurts and he is doing it. And so that kind of debunks that whole theory. And then it's like, well, yeah, but Brock's got all this talent around him. Well, what is it? Every quarterback's got talent around him, and Jalen Hurts just proved it. Jalen Hurts isn't better than Mahomes, but he had more talent around him on Super Bowl Sunday, and they won. So, the 49ers template, I think you're absolutely right. They have a head coach who's good enough to win with. They have a quarterback who's good enough to win with. Now it's on the front office to build up that roster and build Brock. If you put Brock Purdy, like today, on the Eagles, I think the Eagles haven't lost a step at all. I think they're the same team, if not better, than they were.
One of my least favorite arguments.
But they got a great line, and you got to be able to protect Brock Purdy. The Niners have to spend some serious money and time building up the fortress of a line around him and getting him a few weapons. Improve your D, get him some weapons, build up your line, win the Super Bowl. It's a real clear path. Now we'll see if they can do it, but that's the path.
Larry, one of my least favorite arguments in sports is the hypotheticals that come in. Brock Purdy is the best guy for the job in San Francisco that they have right now. So that's why, first of all, he saved everybody's bacon. You talked about what if Brock Purdy never existed? Well, Shanahan and Lynch wouldn't even be here anymore. They would have been strung up for their sins of the Trey Lance situation. But Brock got everybody a second life. That he really, really did. This is somebody who has so successfully navigated what has been a weird and odd start, and he's done it in a way that has left everybody, I think, impressed. But some people will say, even though he's been pretty damn good here, Brock Purdy in reality being a good quarterback with the 49ers is still not enough. They need the theoretical, well, what if you put him on the Jets? Would the Jets be better? That doesn't happen. No one's going to put Brock Purdy on the Jets. That is a mental exercise that if you want to take yourself through it, you go right ahead. But there's no reason to, because it's not going to happen. Brock Purdy might not be the single best quarterback who can make any football team in the world instantly better. But
why should he? Why should he have been? He was the last pick in the draft.
Right. There was the little expectation that that's what was about to happen.
But it's like, okay, do I'm trying to think of all the people that are mad about this. They paid him too much. They didn't pay him too much. No. In the grand scheme of things, he's very fairly compensated among the top 10 quarterbacks. If you pay him this much, you can't win. That's proven incorrect because they're paying him what the Eagles paid Hurts, and the Eagles just won with Hurts. So it's like you can argue he's paid too much if you don't think he's worth being paid at all. But if you believe that you should extend him, you can't argue with the amount that they paid him in the extension. And then once again, back to my pertinent argument. If you're gonna sit there and get be all harangued and all up in your thoughts and emotions about they shouldn't have done this and they're idiots, who should they go with instead? Who would be a smarter quarterback? And don't tell me Aaron Rodgers. And then the other thing that always happens is there's always this moving of the goalposts. It's like, Brock Purdy's behind this line. Well, wouldn't that make Brock Purdy better then if he's actually having success behind this bad line? But nobody ever, talks about that. Then it's like, get Aaron Rodgers. Did you not see the Green Bay game with immobile Brandon Allen behind this line and how he was just a sitting duck? You got to have mobility. Brock's mobility and movement ability makes this line look better than it is. So, there's people that are just always going to be unhappy with the Niners. There's people that are always going to be unhappy, with the quarterback, and they're just going to park their car there. But force them. Don't let them filibuster on this is a bad deal. They're doomed and doomed and doomed and doom and gloom. Make them chart their own path and then make this an evaluation of that. Tell me what's the better path, and then let's critique your path instead of just critiquing what the Niners have done. It's easy to do nothing and critique people that are doing something. It's hard to do something in that, on your own and say, you know what? I wouldn't do this. I'd do that. And that, if that is better than this, then you're smart. It's a great point. But how many people say they shouldn't be going with Brock, and then their answer is foolish? Go with Cousins. Cousins sucks. Go with Rodgers. Rodgers at this point is a shell of what he used to be, and he can't move. I mean, they are not better. There isn't a better option out there. There were people who were like, trade Brock and go with Shador. What? Come on. Look, just because any rookie is going to make it. It's like you landed a rookie that played like, the key is to find a rookie that plays like a veteran. It's hard. Anybody can draft a rookie. There's a draft every year. You have to find the Russell Wilson. You have to find the Brock Purdy. You have to find the rookie that's going to come in and play in a short amount of time, kind of like a veteran. It's hard to do. It's really hard to do.
If you don't like Brock Purdy, the player, there is a mountain of actual game day evidence to suggest you might be wrong about that. But people don't want to admit that they're wrong about anything. So then they pivot to, well, then when you have to overpay for him, I'm really not going to like him. If you didn't like what Brock Purdy was producing, which was really fucking good to begin with, if you didn't like what he was producing on his rookie deal, there's no way you can possibly like what he's going to be producing now. But the argument that he wasn't a good player, not if you actually went to, results from football games, could you continue to make that argument? But people did. So now it's a financial problem. But it isn't, because this is not an unreasonable contract at all. It's not an overpay. It's not a prohibitive to other business over the positions on your roster. It's not that. And the cap is going to grow again, big time, again. Big time. You see how much they're putting $30 million a year in cap space basically on every single NFL season now. You are about to see the new norm of $20 million at every position. If you're going to a Pro Bowl as a center, you're a $20 million a year player. If you're going to the Pro Bowl as the only Pro Bowlers not making $20 million a year are about to be kickers and punters and long snappers. That's it. Everybody's about to make $20 million a year in this league who's a starter and regarded as really good at it. So the prices of what you think are normal are changing so rapidly that you're just using a brain that was wired as to what was normal from 5-6 years ago. And it's changed so radically in such a short time. I understand why people get lost in the math, but you can't be lost in the player evaluation, the game day evaluation, and the math and maintain your credibility. How many things can you clearly not understand before people stop using you as a source of information? It's amazing to me. It's really amazing to me. And then there's all of this. And look, I don't want to criticize anybody, but
we don't need to.
We're not just looking at a player that isn't also a person. The person matters. And that's why this is among the safer investments, I think, in the NFL. Brock Purdy is the opposite of provocative. He's the opposite of hostile. He's the opposite of entitled. Mr. and Mrs. Purdy did a hell of a job raising their kid as a hardworking, humble guy. And it just permeates off of him. My mother, God bless her, when we talk about, what saying will be attached to you in your life? My mother, God bless her, she came up with something when I was in high school. She said it to me, and I've never forgotten it. She said, class is the ability to make people around you comfortable. That classy isn't the china. Classy isn't pinkies up when you're sipping cocktails. Classy isn't knowing the difference between the dinner fork and the salad fork and did you put your napkin on your lap as soon as you sat down? That'd be the classy thing. That's not what class is. Class is the ability to make people around you comfortable. Brock Purdy makes everybody around him comfortable. He makes Shanahan comfortable. He makes his teammates comfortable. He makes the media comfortable. He makes everyone around him comfortable. He's just good people, man. There are certain people, like I would hire Brock Purdy to come babysit the kids.
The kids would be in good hands.
Yeah.
The guy's a great guy. He really is. He's a terrific
look, Larry,
guy.
you spend more time around him than I do. I'm not there.
He's an amazing guy. He really is.
The way that you are. And you would have picked up by now if this were an act. If this guy was phony. Yeah. That you can't fake it over the course of 4 years. And he's legitimate, man. He's the real deal. He's the real McCoy. And he's got a contract that, again, if you want to break it all down, sure, it's 5th in total value, but it's 7th in annual average value. It's 8th in guaranteed dollars, and that seems pretty reasonable for a 25-year-old starting quarterback who's mostly found nothing but success to begin his career.
And there are guys who have spent a lot of time in the league, who have a lot of perspective, who see Brock Purdy for who he is and see greatness. I mean, I'll give you Willie Snead. Willie Snead, who was a Niner veteran receiver the last few years, played in New Orleans as a young player for Drew Brees. And I said, what do you see with Brock Purdy? He said, I see Drew Brees. He reminds me of Drew Brees. Everything about him. Right. His command in the huddle is unbelievable. His work ethic is unmatched. His competitive fire is at the top of the scale. He holds himself to a really high standard. He's a leader. George Odom told me, man, this guy's the real deal as far as, George is a man of faith and Brock's a man of faith. And his faith is a big part. This is also another reason why I compared Brock to Hurts, because Hurts and Brock are very similar as far as they both are men of faith. And they both kind of lead that way. They lead with this, this unbelievable work ethic and humility. And they're very similar. They're very similar in a lot of ways. And they obviously have some differences, but there's way more similarities. And I think the same way the Eagles built a team, a great team, around a solid quarterback, and they won the Super Bowl, I think I would say the same thing. I wouldn't call Brock Purdy a superstar quarterback. I would say I'd say he's on potentially a great team, and he's a really solid quarterback.
He's the right fit for the situation. He's the right fit for the situation because
he's a hard worker. He's smart.
How you play under the stern gaze of Kyle Shanahan is all that matters in San Francisco.
And that matter, and that's a tough one too, Damon, because Kyle coaches the quarterbacks and the receivers and some of the positions really, really hard. And also, Kyle is not, I don't think, the best communicator as far as I don't think he filters, his stress out and all that kind of thing. I think it's all right there for the quarterback to have to deal with.
Yeah. He uses
and Brock is great at hearing Kyle, but not, you know what I mean? Listening to Kyle, but not necessarily hearing all the stress along with it. So I think they're perfect for each other. I think Brock Purdy's the perfect quarterback for Kyle Shanahan, because Kyle Shanahan's going to run you down verbally at times, not in a personal way in any way, but in a football sense. He's gonna tell you fucked up. And some guys can handle it, and some guys can't. And I think Brock can.
You know guys who can handle that? Guys who had fathers who raised them right.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like, your dad.
Or challenge them. Challenge them.
Yes. If you had a dad who was hard on you and demanded things of you.
Or if you're hard on yourself, Brock's pretty hard on himself.
Look, man, I like the guy. And look, we got to, I become familiar with chatters, and I would say Mitchell and Ness, with people in the chat, and people in the chat. Mitchell and Ness, I'm going to tell you, this guy, he's not a football idiot at all. He knows football.
Mitchell and Ness is solid. He sometimes rips me, but he's solid.
But that's okay. That's you can argue with the hosts as long as you come and watch the show while you're arguing with the hosts. You're doing your part. That's fine.
Exactly.
But here's the deal. I would say he's a guy who knows football, who's like anti-Brock Purdy kind of at the same time too. And he says, someone once said Brock is a good citizen. Give him that money. Purdy stands always sound so cheesy with their heads in the cloud. It'll be fun to see how this plays out. I'm going to guarantee you right now that Brock Purdy's not about to catch charge. Brock Purdy, here's the thing. Brock Purdy is not about to get this money, and now he's going to show you what a real ruthless duty is. Like, there's zero chance Brock Purdy is about to head off to Las Vegas to go gamble in the high rollers room and bang hookers by 3 at a time and cheat on his wife. And that's just not who he is.
He's not going to make it rain in the club.
No. What do you think the first thing Brock Purdy does with this newfound money is? I got even odds it's pay off his parents' mortgage. That's who Brock. That's
the other thing, Damon. His dad was a pro athlete. He's a man of privilege. No, he wasn't a man of privilege. If anything, he grew up poor. His dad was a guy who was a minor league player who sells hot tubs.
Right.
His dad sells hot tubs. Now come on, man, that's a hustle. That's a hustle. And I'm sure Brock has great respect for everything Sean has done to provide for him and his brothers and sisters. And I mean, come on. But I'm sure you're right, Damon. He's going to absolutely try to, take care of his family, and good for Brock, man. Good for Brock.
What do you want to bet that Brock Purdy's high school football coach has a new car this football season? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think Brock Purdy's going to do with his money. I don't think he's about to go to Vegas and drown himself in blackjack and pussy. It's just, I'd be stuck.
There's nothing wrong with that, but no, you're right. He's got all the, This guy's got the priorities,
Right.
and taking care. This, I'll say this too: the money's not going to his head, and it's like, and it's funny how people like Purdy stans. What's the difference between a Purdy fan and a Purdy stan? I'd love to know.
I don't know. The whole term of stan
is like this, like, but like, if you're not a Purdy fan, who are you a fan of? Who's your if you're a Niner fan, and wouldn't you be a fan of the quarterback? And if you're not a fan of the quarterback, once again, enough of the ripping of Purdy. If you want to rip Purdy, tell me who you'd rather have. I don't want to listen to any more rips of Purdy that are just bitching and moaning. Anybody can bitch and moan. Come up with a better plan. I'm all ears. And the Niners are too. You got a better plan? Let's hear it. You got a better quarterback? Throw him out there. You got a better option? Let's hear it. I'm sick and tired of, I don't like your idea, but I don't have one of my own. Then shut up. I mean, you just listen then. You don't really have you don't really have a right to say anything unless you have something to add. And saying they shouldn't have done it, they're going to be screwed. There's no evidence of that. The Eagles just paid their guy, and they just won with their guy being paid. So don't tell me it can't be done. We just saw it done. So and if you don't like Brock Purdy, that's fine. I'm not saying Brock Purdy's the greatest quarterback of all time. Tell me who you'd rather have.
He's the
that's
best quarterback
gettable
available at this time.
By far.
It's the thing. We don't have to, not every single conversation about sports has to be framed in who is the all-time best at it. You can't be really the best at
right.
all time. You can only be the best of your time. And right now, he is the best guy for the job. So much so has proven it that it'd be silly to get off the Brock Purdy train at the end of year 4. This is the right thing to do, I really think. Now, when we talk about going bonkers with money, Brock Purdy gets to do the one thing that, Larry, I know that if you and I fell into $180 million, I don't, neither one of us, I think, are that materialistic. I know money's never been my Jesus. You're kind of the same guy. I don't think
I'm a people person. I'm more into people than things.
Here's what you would do. You would get yourself a nice car. I know you would upgrade your car instantly if you fell into this money. That's the first thing like any guy would do. All right, I'm going to get myself a nice car, and that'll be that. His wife, however, what's her name? I think her middle name's Jolene, which is fantastic. Jenna Jolene Purdy.
Maybe Jenna.
Brock gets to turn to his wife now and just say, honey, go nuts. Go nuts. What do you want? Get 2 of them. I would love to be able to turn around and tell that to Jillian. Hey, honey, not only do we never really have to worry about money again, go nuts. Have a great day. Take every single friend you've had since middle school out to the most expensive lunch in the world. You want to fly people in? Go nuts. Go nuts, honey. And Brock gets to do that. Happy wife, happy life. Again, another reason to root for it all.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't seem like a very materialistic guy. No. I could see him maybe taking care of like a Nick Sakel, his good buddy on the team. I could see him getting Nick something cool. But yeah, I mean, Brock's I think gonna be the same guy. I would be shocked at all if he changes at all. I think he's gonna be kind of the same grounded guy that he's always been. I mean, this guy, come on, man. The Niners lucked out majorly. I don't know who it was that first said, hey, we need to go after Brock, but that guy should have lifetime season tickets for the Niners, right? I mean, if you were the guy, Damon, the regional scout, the road scout, the first guy. Now, eventually it sounds like Greasy and, turned on Shanahan and Lynch, and eventually everybody was excited about Brock. But there had to be a first guy, right? There had to be a guy who go, hey, you know what? I know this guy's got kind of narrow shoulders. I know this guy doesn't have much of an arm. I know he threw too many picks at Iowa State, but you know what? There's this son of a bitch can do it. And you know what? We gotta really, somebody had to have the vision of Brock Purdy. And it's that personnel vision. Whoever had it is somebody that should be promoted from within.
the first non-Iowa State Cyclone who said, this guy's good, go draft him. Should get a bonus. Yeah. Should absolutely get a bonus. By the way, JP from the 510 says, go buy the most expensive Ike sandwich on the menu. I believe that is
two of them.
Bruce. Yeah, that's the Damon Bruce. Extra meat on that bad boy if you really want to. Larry, should we hop some supers? I just saw that Jillian brought the kids out to a little nursery to get some new flowers.
Flowers. Put in the little outing with mom, and they're back.
They are back, which means this show has an aggregate amount of time left.
No problem. We have 15 supers. We'll roll through them right now. Here we go. Fuji Simeon. Brock signs a decent deal. Flores leading the NL in RBIs, and a Pope from Chicago. What is going to happen next? P.S. Larry, boo San Ignatius Wildcats.
What's next? Good God. That's a great question. What's the Indiana Pacers win the NBA title? How about that? That would be like no one saw that one coming.
Yeah.
By the way, Knicks Pacers should be a hell of a series. Really.
What's next? People are talking up the Valkyries. That's what's next. Fuji Simeon, congrats to Purdy and his family. His folks can retire. Don't have to sell hot tubs at a swap meet anymore. Can't imagine what Stroud is going to get. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. That there are going to be big contracts coming. And that, I would say 5 years from now, you're going to look at that deal and go, really?
Larry,
Joseph Ernberg.
I was talking about this last night with Sammy. Before Jack is out of high school, my son is in kindergarten. Before Jack is out of high school, there's going to be an $80 million a year NFL quarterback, maybe even 90. Wondering if there isn't an actual number somewhere in that $90 million a year quarterback where the number goes to 100. We are about to see it. We are crossing the Rubicon.
Arch Manning or something.
Yes. Yeah. Right. The guy who's going to be the first $100 million a year quarterback isn't even in football yet, isn't even in the NFL, but he's coming. He's out there.
I will say this. If you are in that group, if for whatever reason, if this, the contract thing makes you kind of think about who's the next and that kind of thing, go watch Marcel Reed, the redshirt sophomore quarterback for Texas A&M. Go watch that guy, Damon. This kid is so special, so special.
Is this the kid? Was he
Marcel Reed? He's a redshirt sophomore. He's a 6'2", 185-pound kid from Nashville. Went to Montgomery Bell Academy High School, and he's a great athlete. And this year for A&M, he came off the bench, threw 1,800 yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 picks, and he's super athletic. I mean, he's incredible talent. A great kid too. I mean, he's Marcel Reed is his name. He's
by the way, Joseph. If there were ever a guy to have this happen to, you're the one. Happy birthday. Here, you know what, Joseph? You are one of our beautiful assholes. And I mean that in the best possible way. We know that we love you. So here's your party hat. There you go. Happy birthday to our favorite Niner curmudgeon, Joseph Ernberg, who at least pays to bitch.
Let's give him a clap, because you know what? Joseph Ernberg is so negative. He deserves a lot of positivity on his birthday. And I respect a good negative person. Joseph Ernberg. Morning, guys. Brock's contract is my birthday present. There you go. Happy birthday, Joseph. Thanks for being such a part of the chat. Fuji Simeon. Life sure is strange. This could have been Lance signing a mega deal with the Niners in another timeline. Always go for the most guaranteed money in the NFL. That's probably good wisdom there. Probably good advice. Fuji Simeon, watch out. Brock will get run out of town when he commits the most cardinal sin in Bay Area history. He doesn't separate his recyclables from his trash. LOL.
Are you composting? God damn it.
Get him out of here. Fuji Simeon. Larry, you need a Reardon IT person to help you. Haha.
Hey, Fuji, how about dropping a couple of these on my channel so I can enjoy the profits of your geez.
Fuji's a Krug show guy. Ramon Gonzalez in the house says, if Purdy plays like 2023, it's a good contract. If he plays like last year, no. The big question is, why did he regress last year? Team play or quarterback play? It's a great question.
Yeah.
I would say he operated behind a subpar line. There was tons of adversity last year, and his weapons all flew south. I mean, that was it. Ayuk got hurt. week 7 or 8, somewhere in there. Debo was never Debo all year. CMC barely played at all. I would say that, they lost 40 touchdowns off those 3 guys. So I think that had a lot to do with it.
By the way, can we just, in that struggling time, we showed it before, I just want to go back to it for those who missed it. Let's just take this down for just a moment here.
Yeah.
This is last season with all the adversity that the 49ers faced.
That's the bad year.
This is the worst year he's had.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Pretty good. Look at it this way. I don't know what Brock Purdy's ceiling is, and it might not be the highest ceiling. How about this? It definitely ain't the highest ceiling in all of the quarterbacking that you're going to get in the NFL. But that is a floor that most people would beg for. That is awesome regression, if you don't mind me saying. I know we're shooting at a better target than you played really well in a bad year, but he did. I mean, you can make the argument he was pretty damn good as everything around him was going wrong, and the vibes could not have been worse. So there you go.
There you go. It's a good one. We got this one from Jerry Martinez. Good morning, Jerry, or good afternoon, it's good morning. He says, when Purdy took over, no one was talking about the 49ers as a Super Bowl contender. Purdy made them a contender. Well, they were contenders before they'd gone to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. But I'll say this, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. I said it loud I said it loud and proud because I knew I was right. As soon as Jimmy was being carted off, I literally came out from the back, and I was sitting. I went down to my seat, and I'm like, "What happened?" They're like, "Oh, Jimmy got hurt. They're carting him off." And I go, "Really?" And Caleb Homeras from the Niners looks at me and he's like, "Your guy's coming in," because I've been talking up Brock Purdy. And I said to him really loudly in the press box, I'm like, the Niners just seriously upgraded at the quarterback position. And dude, Damon, there was like 5 people in the front row who like
the harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy. Harumph.
It's like, who said that? Who said that? And I'm like, I said it. And I meant it. MSQ. I heard a mock sign and trade idea via Andrew Fenikel on YouTube. I don't even know Andrew Fenikel. Between Golden State and Sacramento. Would you trade Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, and 2 unprotected firsts in 27 and 29 for Sabonis?
No.
Yeah, I don't think Sabonis. Well, I mean, I love Sabonis. I that would not be terrible. But
by the way, MSQ has found the space bar. Thank you.
Yeah, the move that I would make if I could, and I saw Jonathan Kuminga sitting next to Joe Lacob at the Valkyries game last night. So maybe their plan is maybe their plans to keep him. Maybe their plans to sign and trade him. Either way, Joe wants to have a good relationship with him.
Jonathan Kuminga would be a hell of a Valkyrie. He would definitely lead the league in scoring.
But I would say this: if you could move Jonathan Kuminga, I was looking at the draft, and if you could move Jonathan Kuminga in any kind of a deal to Brooklyn, who supposedly really wants him, and if you could get Cam Johnson and any of their draft assets, I think that's the route I would go. Because there's some draft assets. I like the big man from Stanford quite a bit. There's 3 NBA draft guys that I really, really love, and it's Eric Dixon, the Villanova power forward. It's Mark Sears, the Alabama point guard, and it's the Stanford center, Maxime. That's his name. He's from France. Reynaud. Who's a 7'1" center from Paris, France, who played for Stanford, who's really good. I mean, I think that guy, Reynaud, would be a great warrior. He can shoot the 3 ball. He's really good. Fuji Simeon, Larry, should the Giants make a trade for Reese Hoskins? John Lund brought this up yesterday. We were talking about what can the Giants do. And, I know Flores just hit 3 bombs and he can play first. He's right-handed and Hoskins is right-handed. But Lamont Wade is just dying out there. I mean, it's time to get rid of Lamont Wade. He's just dead. And Hoskins is on a Brewer team that you could probably get him. And, yeah, he's from Sacramento. I know Dave Fleming one time said that Hoskins told him that he would love to be a Giant, and he's a Sac State kid. I would love to have him as a Giant.
Every single time. Any NBA team, thank you. Any baseball team that has a 31-year-old with the worst WAR on the team, you should just get rid of that guy. I don't care who he is, what position he plays. 31-year-olds who are the worst player measurably on the team got to go. And that, unfortunately for Lamont Wade, is Lamont Wade.
I don't understand why he's regressed so significantly. It's hard to put your finger on. Don't. Just a handle, don't. Larry, you said we have a -7 rest differential against the Titans, but we play them off our bye. I had done some notes on that. Basically, I'd heard that the Niners had the bet. I'd read that the Niners' worst rest differential for the year was the Titans game, so I could stand corrected. I didn't have two sources. I just went with that in a video. So
look at it this way. So
I could be wrong on that.
The 49ers, following a season of -22 rest differential, they have a +9-day ref surplus in this upcoming season. They face here's the beautiful thing about this roster, or excuse me, the schedule, beyond it being a last place schedule. They face 0 teams coming off of a bye week. On top of that, the Thursday night football game at SoFi.
4 last year, by the way. 4 last year.
The football game at SoFi Stadium, the 49ers are going to get plenty of time to go to Tampa, which is going to be one of their toughest road games of the year. By the way, Baker Mayfield at $22 million a year might be the best value in all of football, given what they're paying and what he gives them. Baker Mayfield is really good down in Tampa.
Based on last year, for sure.
Yeah. 8 of the 49ers' final 10 opponents will be coming off road games as well. So I don't think there's anything about this Brock Purdy contract to not like, and I'm telling you, there is nothing about this schedule to not like.
Well, I mean, the only thing I see is the week 14 bye. You have the very latest bye. Now, I'd rather have the latest bye than the earliest bye. Mm-hmm. So there's that. But it is a very, very late bye. So there may be some challenges in getting to that bye week. And, there's going to be a couple challenges on the schedule. But, it's a very favorable schedule. But guess what? It was a very unfavorable schedule the last couple of years, and they were due for a favorable schedule. And this is what happens in the NFL. If you finish last, you get a last-place schedule. That this is like one of the elements from within that they have to kind of make the league more equitable. The first-place teams play a first-place schedule the next year. The last-place teams get a last-place schedule. The question is, some people feel like the Niners are going to be one of the teams that goes from last to first. Other people still feel they're going to be bad, so we'll see. We'll see what it, I'll say this. If the 49ers are bad this year and don't have a good record, there's going to be a lot of heat on Shanahan and Lynch, and probably justifiably so. And it probably is going to be the end of them. If they don't, yes, the 49ers should have a good year, but if they have a bad year, their regime's in trouble.
Absolutely. And should be, to be quite honest with you, against this schedule and the situation and all the years of now everybody knows the system, hopefully. And look, when it really comes down to it, the 49ers and Rams are, you want to talk out-of-town scoreboard watching? You should look at what the Rams do each and every week, because I really think the NFC West comes down to the two of them. And the difference in that is the 49ers get the Giants, the Browns, and the Bears, and the Rams get the Ravens, the Eagles, and Lions.
Seattle could be good, too. You never know. I mean, they got a new quarterback. I mean, is Darnold an upgrade from Geno? Is he not?
I think Sam Darnold is about to be look at this.
He's going to fall on his face?
I wouldn't say fall on his face, but the Darnold coming out of San Francisco, he basically got to hide behind the illusion of I'm not playing very much, and because I'm not playing very much, my value's going up. Then he goes to Minnesota, very good year, but that's Justin Jefferson and Jordan Atkinson, and they're awesome. Or what's his name?
Addison.
Addison. Not Atkinson. Thank you, Addison. Thank you. And now he's going to be on a Seattle team that has got new everywhere. I'm not saying
DK, no more DK.
I'm not saying he's about to be New York Jets Sam Darnold, but I don't think they got Minnesota Vikings Sam Darnold up in Seattle. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Sammy's got a.
We'll see. I mean, they're going to try to run the ball. Last year they couldn't run it. Jonas Ymir Jonason says Well, I don't know. Is that a Johansson? I don't see an H there. But
Johansson. Well, that's the thing. It's all Jurgen Flurgen. I have hung out with this guy. At
Jonas.
Yes, he is. We've had beers in San Francisco together. He came out for a Giants game. Great guy. He's been watching us forever, Larry. I'm sure he's been watching you forever. Love Saturday wake up afternoon here in Iceland. Jurgen Flurgen and whale fat for everybody. Extra helping of whale fat tonight for everyone in Iceland.
The party's in Reykjavik. All right. MSQ says Santa Zap, an LA Clipper fan, said that now that Purdy, or an LA Charger fan, said that Purdy got this extension. Now that he got this extension, he will quote revert back and won't be as good without elite weapons. Thoughts? No, I don't think. Come on. Yeah. First of all, nobody's good. Nobody's as good without weapons. But I don't think the 49ers have no weapons. CMC, they got a couple good running backs in this draft. They have a pretty good tight end. No, I think Brock's going to continue to ascend. I don't think he's going to revert back. I definitely don't think he's going to rest on his laurels or not work or anything like that.
I can't wait to see how he processes the game in year 4. I really,
I mean, we'll see. I mean, a lot of it's about the line. I mean, how about this? How about you build this guy a big line in front of him? I'm eager to see what the Niners' offensive line additions look like this year. Connor Colby, is he any good? Drew Moss, is he any good? These tackles they signed on to, are any of these guys useful? Did they upgrade their offensive line, or is it just a year older? And if it's just a year older, they're probably going to have a disappointing year. So
the good thing is Brock is more of an athlete than anyone wants to give him credit for, man. He's got some scoot in him.
He can escape. He can escape. Propa says, I don't love the contract, but I swear there's a part of our fan base that just wants us to lose. We can win with Brock. Eagles just showed that. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of people that want regime change. They don't like Shanahan. They don't like Lynch. They don't like Brock. They don't like Jed. They want, so whatever. I mean, it's just, and then some people just feel like being critical makes them sound smarter than being optimistic. And I get it. I understand that. There are times where I feel like my critical take sounds smarter than my optimistic take, but I don't care. When I'm optimistic, I'm gonna be optimistic, and when I'm pessimistic, I'm gonna be pessimistic, and I'm not worried about the effect.
Dramatic sells faster than stoic.
Yeah, but I mean, also, it's not a secret. Cynicism works better in talk radio, and now we're on YouTube, so it's a little bit different. But cynicism tends to sell a little bit better than optimism. Optimism can be confused with Pollyannish, can be construed as, you're just a stan. You're a Niners stan.
You Homer, House Oregon.
Homer, House Oregon. I think anybody who's listened to Damon and I through the years knows neither of us are House Organs, and there are many, many organizations around the Bay Area that probably hate us, and screw them, but that's the way it is. Iceman says, get a Shelby Mustang. Okay.
That's a badass car right there, and Brock can afford a garage of them now, so yeah, get all the Shelbys.
If you did have this kind of cash, and you mentioned before, I'd buy myself a really nice car. What kind of car? You have ridiculous cash, and any car that's even on the market is totally within your budget. So you could go Pagani, you could go $300,000, Italian sports car,
Bugatti.
Bugatti. You can do whatever you want. What are you going with? What's if I gave you just, Damon, here's a voucher. It says car on it. And you can bring this to any dealership anywhere and get any car. What kind of car do you want? Because you got to remember this. It's also, you got to insure these cars.
Right.
You got to worry about if people are keying these cars.
So my single favorite, I think, car ever in reality is and this is where Kendrick Lamar and I are basically the same guy, the Grand National. That all black Grand National. I went to high school with this guy named Jim Slicko who had it.
I'm not familiar with the Grand National.
Grand National is just the dopest ass.
Who makes it?
Muscle car. it was the Grand Nationals, Ford, Chevy. I don't even. It's just the Grand National. It's like its own category, and it's a badass car. But really, you're saying, Damon, you can have any car you want. Like you could.
I mean, it doesn't have to be something exotic. It could be. It could just
really
be a regular car.
If I had just all the money in the world,
if you say Honda Civic, I'm going to come through this screen.
I want Kit from Knight Rider. I want an exact.
You want a car that talks to you?
Yeah, I want an exact duplicate. I want the red beam in the front that goes boom, 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 boom. I just want Kit from Knight Rider, man. I'm 50 years old. And I'd still want Kit from Knight Rider. I also,
I thought you were going to say the General Lee.
No, can't. Not anymore, Larry. Although that was a dope ass car. Maybe you got to get rid of.
Come on. What the boys didn't know. I mean, come on. Commercials with the car in the air. I mean, there is no greater tease than the car in the air.
Them Duke boys were in a little bit of trouble. We'll be right
back. What the boys didn't know was that Roscoe was sitting behind the tree. Cooter. Roscoe and Cooter. What a great show that was. That was a great freaking show.
Give me a 1986 cherry red Lamborghini Countach. Like the old school frickin' that's, that.
Like the Magnum, the Magnum.
Yeah. That was,
Magnum PI.
That's a Ferrari. That is your old Ferrari Testarossa.
But of normal cars, okay. If all of a sudden you didn't want to have the most ostentatious car on the road, you wanted to actually have a car.
The Buick Grand National, a commemorative muscle car built to celebrate Buick's 81 NASCAR Grand National Championship, debuted in 1980. Didn't get the end of that right there, but yes,
my dad was a Buick man himself. He loved a good Buick. He had more than a few Buicks through the years.
Here's the thing. I also got two boys, right? I need a family car. I
was gonna say
something big. A sports car for daddy.
I'll go Land Rover. I like one of those big Land Rovers, with pimped out Land Rover with those are pretty sweet.
Yeah, look at it this way. I might just tell Jillian. Jillian picked the Kia that we have. We have like a Kia Sorento, and I would have never gone. I like it, dude. I'm down with Kia. I'm down with the Kia mob right here. I'm telling you right
now. Did you just flash Kia gang signs?
Kia gang.
Oh man, that's bad. Dominic Senna. I know Lance was never good, but can we admit his football career was doomed by COVID, lack of reps, and an unfortunate injury? Also, what will happen with Zakel? LOL. Well, Zakel's going to battle for a spot, as far roster spot this summer. As far as Lance,
there's a lot of reasons why it didn't work, and those are among them. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that.
What injury are we talking about? What injury? I mean,
as soon as he became a starting quarterback, his ankle got snapped in half because Kyle was using him like a fullback.
Okay, but I mean, it's not like that's an injury that derailed his career. I mean, it might have derailed him for a little amount of time.
It's the injury that opened the door for Garoppolo, which then became the door that.
I just think I think it was bad scouting. Bad scouting. I mean, do not take a small sample size guy. Don't take somebody who's good for a minute. That's what they did with him. And also stop taking FCS players. Stop taking players from Stanford. Stop taking players from shitty football places. Draft players from football schools.
When you talk about what do you like most about the draft class, you can nitpick, overreach, value, blah, 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 blah. Every single guy that the 49ers have drafted played. It's like that's the one thing they took away, the one lesson of Trey Lance. They got guys with real college football snaps on their body.
I just think Trey Lance arm strength was oversold. His foot speed was oversold. His skill set isn't much. It's kind of what I think Shador's going to run into. I don't think Shador's skill set is much. And I think when you really look at a prospect, you got to really discern what is the skill set. And I think people looked at Trey and saw 6'4", 220 athletic and said, arm strength, but it wasn't there. Accuracy, but it wasn't there. Most of his North Dakota State highlights were of him running over people like a high school fullback running over people. So it's like very hard to discern. It fooled me as well. I'll just say this. Don't go with small sample size. You want a bigger sample size if you can. MSQ says, Can football players play basketball? Can basketball players play football? Thoughts? Yeah, Antonio Gates, Julius Thomas, there are, I mean, Mason Pline for the Niners. I mean, it was like played at Ferris State. Yeah, if I were, and I've talked about this with Damon and others in the past, if I ran an NFL team's personnel department, I would take my lowest scouts on the rung and give them a special assignment. And their assignment was, you're scouting basketball players, because there's so many athletes who play basketball who can't ever play in the NBA because they just don't have NBA skills, but they're still ripped, 6'7", 250 pounds, and super muscle bound, but they have no place in the league because they can't hit a three, they don't have skills, whatever. Take those guys and find the next Antonio Gates.
I'm surprised the way that the NBA has been invaded by European talent. I am surprised that we don't see more rugby, Australian rules football crossover to the NFL. And I think that this is another example of how difficult it is to find success in this league, how hard it is to be good at this sport at this level.
Well, and also rugby's about force and guys with big thighs, and football's about speed. None of those rugby guys are really fast. I mean, if they were really, really fast, like 4.3 speed, oh my God, they would stand out. They would really stand out. They don't. They're big, tough guys, but they're not. It's a different sport.
What was the failed experiment with Jared Haynes? Was that the guy's name?
Jared Hayne. I remember
he had some problems off the field that make
Kevin Lynch told me that he was the greatest return man he's ever seen. I said, "Oh, so you never saw Devin Hester, huh? You never saw that Devin Hester guy?
Yeah.
You never saw Dion. You never saw Billy White Shoes Johnson, Jared Hayne." That's when Kev was getting a little too excited. I was like, oh, "Okay, all right, Kev, all right."
Desmond Howard, is that what we got here?
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah. Desmond Howard need not apply because Jared Hayne. It takes your breath away watching this guy. Yeah, right. The guy ran totally upright. It's the first time he got popped, the ball popped out. I mean, talk about a fraud. 10XU says, I can't wait to see Brock say F it and shits on the league for the constant slander. Yeah, what if he just started coming after people now that he's been paid? JP from the 510 says, NOLA wake-up show in September. Week 2, Niners at Saints. Go Tigers. Dude, I'm Damon, I've thought about taking the Krueger show on the road. And I'm thinking about maybe Seattle week 1, New Orleans week 2. I wouldn't mind a little 2-week Seattle, New Orleans.
I was actually talking to Jillian, looking at the schedule. And by the way, if you're planning like a road trip,
yeah,
New Orleans #1 with a bullet is all with all road options available to you.
It'll be sweaty though, dude. September. No. It's week 2 in September. It's going to be absolutely a sweat box in New Orleans.
It will be, but the game's inside, so they'll have some AC on for you. But yeah, it'll be all your shirts are going to pit out on Bourbon Street. There's no doubt about that. The Tampa Bay game, sneaky, really good game on the schedule. Again, it's going to be hot. But
mid-October,
you get reasonably priced Florida all around you. It would cost half the amount of money to go to that Tampa Bay game as it would the New York Giants game. Raymond James Stadium's a really cool stadium. MetLife sucks, and that's going to be, I think, among the 2-3 hardest road games of the year for the 49ers. That's going to be a fucking war against the Buccaneers. Yeah. My mom, who lives Jillian and I basically both kind of looked at that Tampa and thought maybe we bring the kids out to Linda, and Jillian
lives in Tampa.
Kids. No, she lives in St. Peters, which is like an hour away. Excuse me. My mom lives in Sarasota. My sister lives in St. Peters, which is right next to Tampa. So we
got St. Petersburg, right? St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg, yes.
Yeah, and is that on the west coast of Florida?
It's on the Gulf of America side.
Right, the Gulf of America. MSQ says, using the space bar for now, you're welcome, LOL.
Thank you, MSQ. I feel like we should give you a super chat for making these easier to read. Thank you for the space bar.
T from the 203, Damon and Krueger, hope you're doing well. I was producing that Finns Niner game in 2022, and I knew the Finns were in trouble that day.
This is our Miami-based board op connection. T from the 203. Great to see you. It's amazing we didn't talk more about the Jimmy Butler trade when it actually happened. Dominic
Senna. Krug is saying cut CMC since he's from Stanford. LOL. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Dominic Senna says, what about the rugby experiment of Mailata? Yeah, seriously. Jordan Mailata. What a great player. That's a great one. Yeah. I mean, if he's the exception, but man, he might be a Hall of Famer. I mean, he is just an absolutely amazing talent. Harry Johnson. Yes. Random Niner player of the day, Maurice Hicks.
Sure. Thank you.
Let's see. I can see your Maurice Hicks, and I come back with a Dan Audick. Dan Audick. There you go.
I'll see you both with Delaney Walker.
Delaney Walker. There you go. All right, that's going to do it for us. We're an hour and 43 minutes in. It was one of our longer wake-ups. Maybe that's the weekend extravaganza part of it.
We'll be
Damon,
back on Monday.
We're back on Monday. Have a couple days off, and then we'll be back on Monday morning. But that's going to do it for us. Damon, what do you got planned the rest of the day?
So again, kids at home, family coming over for a little dinner. I'm going to be barbecuing 2 whole chickens on the grill. Yeah, so we're going.
How are you doing that? Are you going beer can chicken? Have you done the beer can chicken?
I have done beer can chicken. Love it.
Yeah.
Wonderfully moist chicken erupts from that. I'm going for a little bit more of a smoke on this chicken. I've got, again, that slow and sear, which turns my Weber grill into a little bit of a smoker. Nice. And so we're just going to gently cook and bring up to temp 2 whole roaster chickens. And we got family coming over tonight. So we're going to
that sounds really nice.
Barbecue chicken dinner.
Oh, that sounds so good. All right, that's going to do it for us. For Damon, I'm Larry.
What are you doing, Larry? What are you doing?
Well, you know what? It's kind of a weird day. It's like normally, on a Saturday, I like to watch my high school. I've had Kev and now Ben and now Christopher. They've all played high school baseball, so they always have high school baseball. But high school baseball ended last week, so the season's over. So I don't know. I mean, my wife and I bought some bikes, and we live in.
Bike? Oh, I'd love to see the 2 of you on a tandem bike together.
It's not a tandem bike, but we have bought bikes, and here in Walnut Creek, there are trails that will take you everywhere. I mean, you could go to Concord, you could go to Pleasanton, you could go to San Ramon, you could go to Pleasant Hill. I mean, you have every direction possible. There's trails. So I might hit the trail. It seems like a really sunny day. I don't think it's very hot today. So it seems like a perfect bike riding day. If my wife is doing something where she does, I won't bike ride by myself. So if she's got something going on with one of her friends, I may hit Lenardi's and decide what I'm going to queue. I got my middle boy Ben works at Lenardi's. So I'll go. So it's really cute seeing him.
Family discount there?
No, but you get. He's a bagger, and I love that kid. He's a great kid. So anyway, I may do a little barbecue. I'm definitely going to watch a little Giants A's. Are Giants A's daytime today, or are they nighttime today?
Great question. It's whenever Wilmer Flores wants it to be, because apparently he's the man now. So he's gonna.
Oh my God, Wilmer Flores last night. Jesus, Damon, that was an amazing performance last night. Giants A's is 6:05. So I'll probably do a little Giants A's. I'll probably do what you're going to do. A little barbecue and just hang with the fam, and looking forward to it. So,
well, hey, look, we throw compliments around like manhole covers over here. Let me just say, you've been crushing it, man. Get outside today. Your commitment to covering the 49ers has drifted all the way into he might need to be put in a straitjacket and in a rubber room. So go enjoy yourself today, Larry. Get outside, get a little sun.
I think I'm going to get a little sun. I've been throwing the weights around. I've been trying to get back to. I want to see if I can bench 300 pounds again, and which that would be really, really hard because I haven't done it for 20 years.
Yeah.
But I put up 225 yesterday, 3 or 4 times, and I'm making my way to 3 bills. So if I can get to 305, that's my goal. So I'm going to do some weightlifting. I don't know if I'm going to do it today, but definitely be queuing later today and Have a great Saturday, man. For Damon, I'm Larry. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to Ike's. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. Thanks to Sammy, who was on with us earlier. Thanks for all the supers, to all the people who threw supers our way. Have a great Saturday, everybody. For Damon, I'm Larry. Peace.